I'm 40 years old, and
What? I thought we were the same age.
no, I'm like, well, actually, I'm 39. I look, I know if I cut the hair off, I probably look like 12. And I know that it's just totally, that's totally the way it is and the way it goes. But see, for me, it's just been more about the fact that, like, I think the secret to eternal youth is recognizing, is, I think, being true to yourself. I think that I think for a lot of us, the biggest struggle. I'm just letting you know we are officially on the air, so I'm just letting you know this right now. So that way, so if you want to say the really incriminating stuff, just be aware that people will be watching and or listening, as the case may be. But the thing about it is, right? What I've learned about this is, I have found that I've been very fortunate in the sense that, for me, I've made peace with the stresses in my life when they have been there, and I cope very well. And also, I somehow have this great ability to um, turn negatives into positives. And I don't look at I try not to look. I don't dwell on the negative very much. I don't know if that necessarily encourages the fact that I probably look younger than I am. But I think the fact that I don't have that same sense of existential dread that the world is going to end. I made peace. I'm going to die at some point in my life, and I know when that day comes, it's going to be it'll be right. Right.
Mm.
This doesn't mean I want to die. It just means that I'm totally at peace with that. So I, because I think I'm so just zen and chill on everything, I think my body just won't let me age so quickly. Right? That's how it is. So I get to be around here longer. Either that, or if they say what is true, that the really good ones die young, I'm gonna be a really evil son of a bitch when it's all said and done.
Yeah, that's been like that was like a low key fear. Yeah, that's one of those irrational fears that I've had. That is why I have self sabotage. Is like, if I get my life together, I'm gonna die, and that's like that's like a weird thing. It's very
It's
weird.
really strange. Like I don't like I personally see I look at it like this. I'd rather die quickly but be at peace with myself completely than live a fucked up life. I think what I have learned, I don't needless suffering doesn't do me any favors. I
Hmm.
don't look life has this like invisible wall, like this brick fist that will hit you repeatedly over the head to learn a lesson, and it doesn't really care until you get the lesson, right? So I don't really feel like getting hit in the head with a brick too much. I mean, my head's hard, but it's not that hard. So that's how I look at it. Like, I try I try to look at what I do well, and I'm very honest with what I don't do well. I've learned at a young age. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do the things I do well, and I'm not going to worry about the things I don't so much,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I got to adult more sometimes. I think I really, really have to adult more than what I do. But I also just think that, I mean, I've learned, like, this is one of the most important things I think most of us never really truly fully grasp about. We all do incredible things. We all do amazing things. We're all capable of absolute magic. Truth be told, like, we all have this ability to take what we imagine and make it real, and that's a great superpower. But the fact of the matter is, most of us, we all do what we want. Most of us, so it's all in our mindset. If our mindset is, I'm gonna fuck up, even if it's just like a fear, well, we're gonna move towards fucking up,
Yeah.
right? If our mindset is, I'm going to do my, like, you can't control necessarily the final result. Like, there are limitations to all this mighty power, but I find that if you focus on what you do well, and if you focus on the fact that, okay, this is what I do, I'm great at this, and it's okay that I'm great at this, and I might be able to do something amazing with this as a result, well, then I have done everything I possibly can do to succeed. And that doesn't mean I get it all right. I mean, I make mistakes all the time too. But the thing is, I can learn from a mistake. I can't unlearn self sabotage unless I'm ready to deal with my own shit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it's all the things I have heard and tried to tell myself. It's just getting it to, like you said, you don't like beating your head. Maybe because I'm a Capricorn, I'm an earth sign, but yeah, I'm very stubborn. So yeah, my brain is a rock. So I have to break it open. So yeah, I have repeatedly thrown myself against walls.
So has the wall given, or has you have you broken a few walls? Like, I'm being facetious here, but I mean, it just somewhat. I think the most dangerous thing. I think the most dangerous thing about us is, again, we do ultimately do what we want to do, and I this is a bit there's a biblical verse I really like, and that's called many are called but few are chosen.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that verse because it's a very systematic thing of life. Like, we all have this power to choose our destiny, and destiny is a scary word because it's like, oh my God, there's this big plan for me. It's not that there's this necessarily this, whatever you believe. It's just that inside all of us, there's this great potential to be something way more than what we start out to be. But nobility is frustrating. Nobility is an incredibly frustrating thing because you to be good, you have to be very, very brutally honest with yourself in terms of what you do well and what you don't do well, and what you're willing to distract yourself with versus what you're not. And you can't be afraid not only to fail, but you also can't be afraid to succeed. And a lot of people fear success. So and the thing is, because success is not the bicycle ride we're used to. I mean, look, you've fallen off the bike, you've slipped on the ice, you've tumbled down, you've tumbled down hills and got up. I'm all right. I know what I'm doing. You know how to do that. But what if tomorrow you did something, you tried something for the first time, and you discovered you could fly? That's fucking scary. What do I do now? Right? You flew. You admitted it. You succeeded. Right? Mm-hmm. Instead, it's like, so you got to come to a point, I think, with yourself where you realize, like, I can go anywhere I want to go. And if I succeed, there are other places I can go. So I'm going to ask you a big question to start with. This is Alaina Dorsey, ladies and gentlemen. She is an artist extraordinaire. She's a creative badass. She is legitimately one of the funnest people on my feed when she chooses to post, and she is an amazingly talented individual. I've been wanting to get her on the show even prior to me being a visual, but now that I know she does all this cool creative shit, I'm like, let's show the world how awesome she really is, and that's why I wanted her on the show. Yeah. So, what's up, Alaina? How you doing? Right?
I'm doing.
You doing?
I'm trying to figure out my own lines. So this is.
All right, okay, hold on. Let people see it. So, what are you drawing? Just let people know what you're doing.
So it's something very overdue for a client. It was supposed to be for a cannabis conference that was going to be like a research board, but she's been wanting to do like weave, but like hemp derived weave. So pretty much I'm drawing a Black woman with hemp derived weave hair. Okay. And I'm also trying to figure out my own lines from 9 months ago. So I might have to improv this.
That's okay.
I'm definitely gonna improv.
Yeah, I'm not quick. So here, I'm gonna show you something. I've been trying to draw with Lego. Right? Lego is surprisingly hard. I did not expect Lego to be that hard.
Like the toys?
Yeah.
And you don't expect anything to be hard until you do it.
See, look. So did I draw Lego or did I draw evil clowns?
I see the Legos because of the hand claw.
Yeah. But if the hand claw wasn't there, would it be like an evil clown? I
thought more like not a Viking king, some kind of. It looks like some kind of barbarian king to me.
Yeah. So what I'm going to be doing. So I discovered this like a week or so ago. This joke is old to some people, but I'm just going to tell you anyway. So I discovered that Lego mustaches and porn stashes are eerily the same thing, right? You actually draw them the exact same way, and it's just like, oh my god, I saw it, I can't unsee it, I just can't. So my sister just like requested, my sister just requested I do a pile in for her birthday. It was her birthday not too long ago. And sis, if you're listening to this, happy birthday. You rock. I love you and I miss you. But the thing about that is, right, I'm her brother. So of course she's getting one with like the biggest mustache I could ever have. Like one of those big, maybe we go beyond porn stash, like one of those Bugs Bunny style cartoon Black Knight. He had like a mustache so big, or maybe you just go full Yosemite Sam. Just pure 100%, the face is just pure 100% beard. Right. Right. And just that's it. Like a pure 100% beard. I'm still trying to find like the D&D build for a Lego Knight, because there's got to be like a power in Dungeons and Dragons where you're disassembling and reassembling materials to make you like armor, like almost like a requip armor. Like you construct your armor and get yourself like this cooler, better armor. I'm sure that exists in some D&D build somewhere. I just haven't seen it. And yeah, so I'm going out there, I'm just doing my thing, and I'm having a blast. Like I'm just having fun drawing right now. I'm learning how to tell stories with my art.
And that's honestly like the stage that I am in, as far as like it's kind of like if a married couple became estranged and then they renew their vows. That's where I am with my art right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
why'd you break off from your art? What was the relationship snafu there?
It was mainly like mindset issues behind. I grew up in a very perfectionist household, so that like level of I just had too high expectations, and then I'd start drawing and like it'd become like a huge anxiety fest, and I'd be miserable, especially when I was like trying to pursue it as an actual career. I couldn't handle the pressure or whatever that I was dealing with, so I didn't enjoy drawing anymore. But now that pretty much the appeal of being a professional artist was mainly, the appeal of entrepreneurship, of the freedom, making your own money on your terms. But I just finally got to the point where it's like, if I want to make bank, I'm just going to learn another skill that interests me so that I don't have that pressure with my art, and I can just do it because I enjoy doing it, and then I can produce the things I want to produce instead of worrying about, if I produce this book, how much money is it going to cost me to produce the book? Because I made like coloring books in the past. I made like some really small art books in the past. And all the money stuff was stressful. The production stuff, everything about doing more than just drawing was so stressful for me. But that was like 3 years ago. That was kind of like in that place. So I wasn't drawing as much. So now that I have the iPad, which I just got last Friday, it's kind of like a new lease on my creative life.
So I'm gonna ask this a fun question. Are you trying to make this a career at this point again? Or are you at this point going like, you know what? I'm just gonna have fun.
It's definitely a career. It's definitely so there was a couple things that I think since entering my 30s, because now I'm 32, and apparently your brain does make shifts every 10 years. Like our brains are still growing and changing. So when I was younger, like getting in my 20s and really like trying to pursue art as a career, I didn't have a long-term vision of my life, and I couldn't really imagine my life. But now that I'm like, okay, let's say I live until I'm 100. I'm 32 right now. What am I going to be doing for the next 70 years? So that kind of being able to actually finally think like that, put the framework of, okay, I'm going to take my time building this. And because I have a marketing business. So right now I'm kind of like, it's two slowly converging roads that I'm working on. I don't know how it's going to come to fruition, but my plan is to make my current business overlap with my art over, the next 3 years. And then it just grows over, for the rest of my life, so that, yeah, I am like a full-time artist, and then I have my bills paid, and then I can also funnel money into, like, I do want to build an animation studio.
Sweet.
And that costs a lot of money, that takes a lot of time, on top of meeting the talent. Like, I have very talented friends. Being able, and the most important thing for me is being able to pay artists a sustainable wage so that they live comfortably. If they want to buy a house, they can buy a house, they can raise their family. I want to be able to provide that, building that studio. So yeah, that's my long term. The overall answer is, yeah, it's a career goal, but now it's more of a, or not even a career goal. It's my vocation. It is my purpose.
So can I ask a interesting question? I hope it's an interesting question. If it's not, please don't beat me. You're tougher than I am. I've seen your muscles, and you're tougher than I am. See, I told you this wasn't going to be that painful, was it?
Well, I mean, I'm comfortable. It's just the only thing I was stressing about was like trying to figure out if I was going to try and stream this or not, stream from the iPad or not. But I'm pretty good chatting.
Yeah, pretty good just chatting. We're going to show more art stuff as time goes, though. So people will. Well, I won't be judging you because I'm still learning and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, someone might come up with something. I don't know. I don't know. I tend to think. See, I recognize. I think the interesting question I have is, you decided you love to draw. When you went the first time, did you think you were mentally ready for the headspace it took to really get into a career as an artist? And what was the shift? Like, what was the shift where he's like, okay, I'm ready now?
So I guess it comes down to, so I found the vibe of the internet right now is dealing with your trauma and inner childhood wounds. And that was ultimately what my mind, those were some of my mindset blocks. Was years ago, I thought I wanted to be ready to make that change, or I wanted to pursue this years ago. But the issue was psychologically, like on a subconscious level, no, I wasn't ready.
Okay.
But it's like, it's something that I really wanted, and I was like, it was very hard for me to, let's see how to describe it. I felt ready, but I didn't know what to do. And I also, like I said, I didn't really have a long-term vision. So it was like, I was scared because I'm just like, I have no idea what anything I'm going to do is going to be. I don't even know what I want to do. I don't even know what I want to be. I know I want to draw, but I don't know what that actually looks like from my life. And like, I'm sure there are people who can just, there are people who just wing it. But for me, it was just like, what does this even mean to me? Like, and now that I'm older and like I have more experience, I've watched like a lot or a handful of my art friends take off with their careers. And then as I've been like learning about being an entrepreneur, having a marketing business and doing stuff like that, I really just needed more grounding in reality, as far as not being realistic, but having, I guess I grew up kind of sheltered, so I needed to get a feel for how the world worked better.
That's fair.
Yeah.
When you figure out how the world works, let me know, okay? I'm still trying to figure that out. The older I got, I've come to the conclusion the smartest thing I can say most of the time is I have no idea. I've learned that smart people really don't see, upon closer inspection, aren't may know less about the world than I do, and so I decided that maybe the smartest thing I could say is I really don't know how this works, right? I'm just going to try what I think might work, and I hope for the best.
Yeah.
That's it. I've lost any and all faith in the concept of I know what I'm doing, because I'm just convinced as I've gotten older that none of us know what we're doing. We just try what we think works best, and sometimes we're brilliant, and sometimes, like me, I'm like, I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, okay, like this, for example. I turned this into a talk show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, the first time I admit this, I don't know. But
so I guess my thing is the way the world works to me is, so it's not just a world thing, it's like it's a way of the universe.
Oh, way of the universe, okay.
So for me, I've dabbled in studying Taoism on and off, and Zen Buddhism since I was like 12 years old. So I have like, the way of the world is that there is a harmony of things. Humans, of course, are complete chaos. We don't have any certainty of things, but to me, that is the way the world works. It's just understanding the things that are outside of our control, but also understanding that everything is inevitably, because I can't think of the word I want to say, everything is inevitably connected.
Yes.
And as you're saying that, you don't know what you're doing, you kind of just decide, or for me, because I feel like I've been putting out a lot of like arrogant energy and like confidence out into the world and stuff with how I am. And it's because, I guess, just from studying philosophy and psychology, it's because none of us live in objective reality. We all have a subjective perspective. So it's, okay, I've decided that I know what I'm doing, and that's just it. And that, like, because I don't know. I've had doubts about, it's, sure. I still feel weird talking about the animation studio thing. I still feel weird about wanting the money that I want, but when it's like, like you said, you attract what you just like you can attract negativity by having doubt, you attract what you want. So it's, well, this is the life that I want, and this is what I feel it should be for me. So that's how I go about it. Or, on a good day.
That's not a bad way to be. I mean, if nothing else, you got nothing to lose. I just see. I learned this is the only thing I do know for sure. And I've said this on when I've been interviewed by people in the past. I am just a smart enough man to embrace my accents. That's it. I don't pretend I have any magical answers, because I don't. What I do have is I have an understanding that maybe, just maybe, right, that if I do something, I'm going to create a result. I'm going to create a ripple out there. Whatever that ripple might be, right? The ripple could be a big thing, a little thing. It doesn't matter. I do something, a reaction will happen. Whether I succeed, in one sense, success and failure doesn't matter. In one genuine sense, because it's not, that result might be a failure. But if you keep going, you're going to inevitably run into success, because it's not, no one bats 1,000 either way, in failures or in successes, right? So if you're trying for success, one of the best things you can do is just keep going. And if you're trying to learn from your failures, the best thing you can do is keep going. Either way, you keep going. And what I have found is, when you do that, if you're not afraid to keep going, if you're not afraid to look foolish, if you're not afraid to fail, you're not afraid to succeed, because that's actually almost as important, maybe even more important. Suddenly, It's just a series of results. I put
Mm-hmm.
something out there, the answer is no. I put something out there, the answer is no. I put something out there, the answer is no. I put something out there, the answer is no. Keep putting it out there. The answer will sooner or later be yes. Someone's going to say, fuck it. He keeps coming. He's not stopping. Why isn't he stopping? Who is this guy? Right? And
Yeah.
that creates a degree of power.
And that's why I consider you to be inspiring, because it's not even, I mean, I think for any human being, it is inspiring to just see somebody who just keeps going, because it's what we're designed to do.
Yep.
And
Well, I've had my ass kicked. It doesn't, like, once you've had your ass kicked, it's like, well, okay. So it's funny, like philosophically speaking, I'm almost back to where I was 10 years ago, because I made a shift. I could have stayed. Just I was one of the really fortunate ones in this time, is that my job would have been secure no matter what. I would have made really good money if I decided to stay. Well, okay money. I'm gonna say really good, but okay money. I would have been fine. I would have gotten by just peachy keen if I had stayed where I was. But I wanted to be different, right? Which is scary in a time like this, because you're like, well, you know what? It might not be the smartest thing you've ever done, but I also know this too. The longer I stay somewhere, the more likely I'm going to stay somewhere.
mm-hmm.
And I had decided, in my head, I was done. I just was done. So I've spent this last year. I didn't realize I could draw. I'm not saying I'm even good at it. All I'm saying is I didn't realize I could draw. So I've been coming on here with amazing people like yourself every week almost, and we're drawing, and it's been encouraging. The Guy's Guide television series actually sent me the basic outline how to scan a torso. It was a really, really kind thing for him to do. He went out of his way to help me, and it's been like, that is so freaking cool. All I've done is I do things, and and again, I'm just not afraid. The worst that can happen is I don't go anywhere, but that's not really the case. You always go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. The question is, are you ready for that? What that ride actually is, right? I don't know if I have a goal of March 21st. That this show, I have sponsors. I'm making some kind of financial gain from this. I have my audience. My audience is growing, but it's a slow process, and I know that Rome isn't going to be built in a day. And if there's one thing I wish I could have, I had done sooner, is I had started this back in July, not now.
Yeah.
You're right. That's the only thing I kind of kicked myself with, but I had to learn, and I did learn, right? And I did learn. Like, I think one thing you said that absolutely rings a bell is you have to be comfortable with who you want to be, right? And I wasn't ready to figure out what my niche was when I started freelancing. But I mean, I've done some cool things. I got some freelance articles out there. I got, I published some stuff with, with books. I'm still going to be doing more stuff like that soon. And so, you want to see my current paladin? You want to see what it looks like?
Yeah.
So this. What do you think?
Oh, you said a paladin? For some reason. Yeah. Nice.
Lego paladin. This is a Lego paladin originally.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you just like ideating, or are you using reference?
What?
I said, are you like doing it from imagination, or are you using a reference?
Both. I'm taking a base design that's actually existing, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to I'm going to take the base idea, which is what I did there. There's a very base little idea of the paladin base is there. Now I'm going to try some different things with this design, right? Tonight and tomorrow. And then tomorrow I'm going to hand, this is one of my 2 designs for tomorrow. All right. And, when you don't have to do the face, it's surprisingly easy to do a paladin, right? Lessons learned.
Nice. Here's where I am, where my lines, I guess, make more sense.
That's right. Your hands are impressive.
Thanks.
Your hands are impressive. Super impressive.
Impressive hand.
That's right. Your hands aren't actually, and it's a compliment because that's actually one of the harder things to do in drawing. But a friend of mine gave me a really good shortcut with hands, and it works.
I kind of have like a. So okay, so like with the hands or anything like anatomy wise, right? Part of well, I was already like lifting before I really got into drawing,
Okay.
but part of what I started doing when I was lifting and whatnot is like that's what helped me get grounded in anatomy because you're drawing what you already have. So like you have hands, so use your hands.
Use your hands
as a reference. But I kind of also just like I don't want to say I don't feel that I feel like I do kind of approach drawing like sculpting. So I'm like
okay.
That's why like my lines are kind of all over the place because I'm feeling out the medium and chipping away and like fixing based off of my understanding of the anatomy of hands and stuff. But I'm also been oh my god, drawing for I've been drawing all my life, but serious study on and off for the past 10 years or so.
So guess how long I've been drawing?
What's the context of like seriously drawing or for fun?
Actually, just drawing in general at this point because I actually haven't been doing it for too long. So guess.
So we're excluding your childhood?
Yeah, excluding my childhood. My childhood, I actually talked myself out of it, believe it or not. All right. Long story, but I talked myself out of it. But
would you believe that I did too?
Oh yeah, we all did. For me, it was I realize now what it was. Oh wow, I just figured out a shortcut to doing an eye. That's fantastic. And it's so easy too. That's fun. That is fun. I learned something today. That's awesome.
What did you learn?
How to do an eye better, like how to actually do an eye, like an eye design really quick. Because I'm using black and white, right? Just black and white. So the irises are very important in eyes. That's what all the expression comes from in when you do this stuff. So the tendency when I draw was to draw them really small, but I just figured out a really fun way to do an extra eye. I was just like, I'm a genius. I learned something. I just learned something. I'm not gonna say I'm a genius, but I definitely learned something. And and that's just it. Like I think for me, the big thing about me now versus me years and years ago, I don't worry about getting it right anymore. I just worry about doing it.
I'm gradually getting there.
Yeah.
I think that's I don't know. I feel like definitely you're an older millennial, but I feel like that's like the biggest struggle. I kind of want to see why that's a big disconnect because I feel like that is like a thing with millennials of overthinking before we do things.
Expectations. That's the thing. We're the first generation in a long time that's probably not going to be making as much money unless we do some things on our own. We're not going to make as much money as our parents did, which is why a lot of us are becoming entrepreneurs. We see the writing on the wall there.
Yeah.
Right? We see the writing on the wall. It's not going to be there anymore. Anybody that's looking at a job long term is going to be in for some very disappointing truths with a lot of employers. Not all, but a lot of them, right? Because the blue collar job is all but gone, right? The white collar job is going to at some point also disappear.
Yeah.
It's going to take longer because of just how things are, but I recognize the fact that there will come a point with it that it will disappear, and when it does, it will be they'll be like us, like what the heck happened? That's what happened to a lot of us. Is it's like, well, why did this happen? It wasn't like it wasn't an evil thing exactly. It just happened, and what happened. Like anything else, things evolve, and needs for certain jobs just disappear. It's not entirely. I'm not going to say it's entirely a great thing if that's the case, because it's not. But I also recognize the fact that change is inevitably part of life.
Exactly.
Right. So you have to at some point have a little how to put this, come to Jesus meeting with the fact that you know what, it's not going to be there the way you imagine it's going to be there in the future. It's just not. So you got to build your own. You got to build it. So the millennials, like my generation, like I was just old enough to see how it was before everything changed. My dad, my mom, I grew up in an era where going to a Chrysler plant was, you were set. You were just good. You had a competent job. You were a competent person. You were going to get taken care of. And that all disappeared. Oh, right around, time my parents divorced started to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother, God bless her, she yelled at me prior to the start of this podcast in a good way. Like she raised me like a son. So if anyone can talk shit to me, it's her. She has earned that right. Love you, Nana. But she said, but I remember when the bakery she worked at changed names and took attention away. So I mean, I've known for a long time that it was not likely to retire. And so that's been my mentality for a very long time. That's why I've never really went at going for a career, because I knew at some point in this wonderful journey of life, that career in all likelihood would not exist. I'd have to do something else anyway.
Yeah.
So when you have instability like that, you just come to recognize that you might as well just do what you want, because again, something I've learned. No one has a mortgage on how the future is going to be. No one knows for sure. So we can pretend that we know, or we can just be like, you know what, I'm just going to do what I want, because really it does. I mean, nothing's guaranteed. I mean, nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing does. So I don't overthink, because it's like, okay, it doesn't work. Okay, I'm exactly where I was. I'm in a nice house. I have ice cream. I mean, it might not seem like very much right now in the grand scheme of things, but it's more than what a lot of people do have. So why worry? Why worry about what may or may not happen going down a path? Just pick the path that makes the sense for you. I mean, and you'll find, I think more often than not, maybe just maybe, you'll find something you love to do. And when you're doing what you love to do, it's not really work.
Yeah. And like I come from a different side of the fence of both my parents. Well, my dad's retired now. Lucky boomer that he is. I guess fortunate boomer that he is.
Mm-hmm.
But both of my parents had government jobs. So like my mom, she's still working for the federal government.
Okay.
And my dad worked for like the local. We worked for Baltimore City government. So his thing, or both of their things, was, Alaina, we're gonna groom you to get a government job. So pretty much all of my life up until I turned 21 or 22, I didn't really make plans for my life because I'm just like, well,
You're set. Yeah.
they told me to get a government job. I have no idea what that means, and I don't really want to do it. But I don't really understand anything else about life. But they told me from the age of 10 that I should get a government job. So I guess I'm gonna get a government job when I get out of college. And then I didn't really I applied like maybe like 2 or 3 times actually. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, what am I doing? And then at that point, it's because I had allowed my life to be dictated to me. I was just at a complete and utter loss for things up until, I'd say even up until the past couple years where I've actually had the confidence to choose my own life, because on the flip side, it was dictated to me, and the caveat was, well, this is the most certain job that you're going to have because it's a government job. And
yeah, it's usually the last thing to go. In all honesty, it's not like it's not like the government may screw up. That's almost that almost goes without saying. I don't think that there's a government on the planet that I would classify as competent in any way, shape, or form, right? But at the same time, government jobs usually last a long time if you want them to.
Yeah, but it's just like, that's not what I wanted. There was no discussion of what I wanted, and at the time, I didn't have the confidence to choose. I didn't have the confidence to just be like, all right, yeah, that's cool, but this is what I'm gonna do. And when you like chose now to like during the pandemic, nice.
That's pretty badass, I think.
Are you gonna color it?
Yeah, I if I had coloring stuff, I would.
You don't have coloring stuff yet?
I don't have coloring stuff yet. I just started.
Just get some crayons.
Okay, get some crayons? Like, what kind of crayons do I get?
Crayola.
Crayons? Okay.
Like literal crayons.
What should I color them?
Whatever color you want. If you're trying to get into like color theory and really think about the colors, right? I don't know color theory like that. So I go on Pinterest and I just look up a color palette.
So how about polka dots? Should I just do polka dots, like giant, like the polka dot night? Like, just have them just have like and put it in like complete fuchsia. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Should I just do like a fuchsia night? Just the moment you look at the night, they go blind. You just go like, my God, he's coming! The fuchsia night, run as fast as you can, and just I might have even got a response from that one. But it's just one of those things where it's just like, no, I don't know. Like I haven't decided. Like I gotta figure out how to embroider. I think that's probably my first design. Actually, I really actually dug this evil looking knight that I made. I think I'm going to submit that to the drawing bit. So I'm really happy that I will consider the color thing. I will think about that very, very hard. Ladies and gentlemen, should I go full on polka dots? Like put black and yellow polka dots everywhere? Because that would be intimidating as hell. A polka dot night? No. Don't mind me. I'm very. But I like that design a lot, actually. I think I actually did myself proud there.
Don't do black and yellow. That's why I'm like, get on Pinterest and look up some color palettes so you have like a very vibrant polka dot night.
Okay. Go polka dots. Okay, gotcha.
Go on Pinterest and look up yellow color palettes.
Okay. But so I'm really proud of that. That looks freaking cool. So my character is a knight for a drawing bid I'm submitting to tomorrow. What's yours?
What's mine?
Yeah, what's your art? Like you're working on it for a client. Is it can you talk about what you're doing, or if you can't, you can't. I get that too.
Oh, so at this point, I'm not sure what this will be used for. But I was saying, so I need the process. So originally, when there was supposed to be a conference, there was supposed to be a cannabis science conference.
Yes.
There's one every year in Baltimore. So of course, COVID killed that. So
That COVID's an evil motherfucker.
yeah, this was supposed to be like she got approved to basically have kind of like a not a billboard, but kind of have a board up to display like research or talking about a certain topic. So I was like, oh, how about I make it like an illustration and it's going to stand out as opposed to all the other nerds who are just going to print out words and stuff and maybe some.
All the other nerds. All the other nerds. Okay.
They're gonna post like diagrams and shit. Okay, here's this. I'm gonna make a very vibrant illustration that you can put your research on top of.
Fucking nerds. Jesus.
That really tickled you.
It really did. Not gonna lie. I'm sorry, it hit me. It just the way it hit me. It was just like, okay, continue. I won't laugh much. I promise.
I mean, that's completely fine. You're all the fucking nerds. It is.
You're fucking nerd.
I mean, of course, they're actual like scientists and stuff, but nerds. That's a nerd to me. So it's just this was going. I think it's I don't remember how big the board is supposed to be. It was like maybe like 3-4 feet, 3 feet by whatever. And it's like, okay, here's a very vibrant image. It'll capture pretty much everyone's attention, and just put your research on top of it. And then over the pandemic, I was like, oh, you could potentially just also use this illustration and put it on shirts, use it as a print and stuff and sell it. So it's pretty much introducing the concept or pushing the concept of using hemp-derived hair weave, because the client, she used to, I forgot what exactly she did, but she used to work in hair care, and I think she had like an allergic reaction to like certain kinds of weave. So she wanted to introduce something that's like more sustainable and healthier for black hair. So that's what this is. So it's a black lady with her hemp weave that I'm going to try and figure out. And she's holding a growing hemp plant. And yeah.
That works. I'm impressed. I am fucking nerds. I'm getting that's gonna be awesome. I mean, if nothing else, you just tell it like you see it. If nothing else, I can respect it.
I'm very honest.
I love it. You gotta call things like you see them sometimes, man. I mean, it's just the way it is. We don't. Sometimes the downside to a politically correct world is that telling it like it is a lot rarer than it used to be. It's there, but it's not to the same extent it once was, and some of it. And it's not all bad. I'm not going to say it's all bad, but at the same time, I love it when people just say what they really think. It's so refreshing. It is so honestly refreshing and liberating. And I think I can't bullshit myself anymore, Alaina. I'm not gonna say I'm bad at this anymore. I don't think I can actually say that anymore. I'm not gonna say I'm great at this, but I can't say I'm bad at this anymore. What do you think? Am I on something, or am I just onto something?
You're on to something. The only way is up.
Only way. That's right.
But I gotta head out. It was good. We gotta do it again.
We gotta do it again. All right. Well, let's do a proper wrap up then. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do a proper wrap up. Okay.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, two things. We're gonna show our final results. So, once again, everybody, I have to color this at some point, and I will color this at some point. But this will be my draw and bid submission tomorrow night. I'm going to be handing this in and be awesome and amazing. This is what I did. This is my evil D&D knight. Or I'm just going to call him Vincent. Vincent the Killer Knight. As far as, but he's a paladin of ill repute, and for her it's client work. But Alaina, since you're doing marketing, since you're doing art, what you should do to wrap this up is introduce yourself, tell people what you're doing, tell people how they can find you, and go from there. And then before.
Okay. So this is what I got done. I am, again, Alaina. For the art side of my life, I am Lain Face, Lain Face. So that's going to be on, where is that? Instagram and TikTok. I'm working on posting more on TikTok and doing time-lapse videos. So I'm going to post the time-lapse video of that. And what was the last one?
Your business. Like marketing and art. Like, what do you do, and what's your and how people can find you? Like, you can find you on TikTok. It's Lain Face. You show people that's where you can find you.
Yeah.
So now, what do you do? That's why you're so awesome.
So I'm an illustrator. I'm working on personal projects once I'm done with this client work. And it's going to be a story project. So you'll see as you're following me as I introduce the characters and the settings and everything. And as a marketer, I work in the cannabis and hemp space. So I mainly help with building timeless, innovative campaigns to build brands.
Awesome. So, Alaina, thank you very much for being here. Stick around while I wrap this up, and we just do our final little chat before you disappear. And that will do it for this week's Drink and Draw, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow, Bill Miles joins the podcast. It's going to be a fun time. If you want to support what I'm doing, click the subscribe buttons on both my YouTube channel, Josh Pintaresco, my Twitch channel, Just Joshing Podcast. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I will see you guys tomorrow. That one's done. And later, guys. And